Hey everyone, this is Teresa Hegel, Executive Editor of Special Projects and Sustainability at ASI.
And this is Cassie Green, Content Director of Apparelist and Editor at Printing United Alliance. And you're listening to Branding Together, a new adventure into the converging worlds of print and promo.
We're here to bring you an engaging monthly discussion that dissects just how closely each of these industries align. Whether you're a promotional products distributor, commercial printer, apparel decorator, or a little bit of everything, our topics and guests will bring the ultimate crossover conversation.
When you're ready to bring your business to the next level, get lost in this month's episode, which is set to happen in 3, 2, 1.
All right, friends. It is the month of February, the second episode of Branding Together. I can't believe that we are already cranking through 2025. It feels like just a few short months ago, Teresa and I were brainstorming ideas for this podcast and thinking, how can we talk to both the promo and print industry? So really excited to lean into this second episode. We have some fun things planned for everybody. Few little tidbits to share with you all, plus a couple special guests, but we'll get to that later in the episode. Teresa, what do we have to kick off this month?
So I wanted to kind of say goodbye to 2024, I guess. So we recently just released distributor sales numbers for 2024 in promo, and it's exciting to say that it's another record year for promo, $26.6 billion in 2024. So that is another record for us. Even though Q4 was a little bit slower, it was a 1.4% growth compared to the previous Q4. But I think it was maybe like a very robust third quarter that helped, bring us over the top and have another record year. So that's exciting. We have a story about that on our site that kind of goes into all the details. The other thing that's exciting about it is that optimism for 2025 is very high. We do this thing called the Counselor Confidence Index, which I'm not quite sure how it works because I'm not really a numbers person, but I think it's like the baseline is 100, right? So that would be like everything's good. But projected for 2025 is a confidence index of 105, which basically means that people are excited, robust for what the year is going to bring in promo. So that's all good. And I think we can share those links, the link to that on, the show notes so you can check out the whole story. But what do you have?
That's interesting that you say you're not a numbers person, because neither am I. And maybe that's why we work in content, Teresa. I don't know. But so a couple big things that I want to highlight going into 2025. First, I think it's important, especially in the printing side of the world, to continue to pay attention to M&A activity. We saw a lot of that in 2024 across the board. Of course, in the apparel side, we saw the big headline buster S&S and Alpha Broder coming together. But even in other verticals of the print industry, you have CJK Group acquiring Coty Collective. You have Rayercom and Prism Color Corp just announced a big, acquisition. So I think not only are we going to see going into 2025 probably some more M&A activity, but even some more partnership opportunities and companies really coming together. So, looking ahead, I think that's something to really pay attention to. I also love your positive outlook. We are also seeing that. So when we conduct our state of the industry surveys, both for the entire printing industry and in the apparel industry specifically, we are seeing some optimism going into 2025. And I really like that. I think we need to maybe latch on to that a little bit.
Yeah. Let's keep that optimism going. So I had one other thing I wanted to kind of bring up as well. And this is another, looking back at 2024. I know it's February, but I think we can still look back and kind of evaluate what happened and go from there. So we also just recently published the top ESP search terms from 2024, which is another great story filled with like graphs and charts. And I think it's always good to kind of give you inspiration and just to sort of see where the culture is. But among the top 10 ESP search terms last year, it was a lot of the things you would expect. So number 1 was pens. Number 2 is water bottles. 3, tote bags. 4, lanyards. 5, tumbler. and I'm not going to do the other the other five. You can go and look. But the other thing that I thought was really interesting was we have a chart on the biggest growth from 2023 to 2024 among search terms. So these aren't necessarily the ones at the top, but they're the ones that are really gaining in popularity. So the first one, and you might expect it, is Awala, because those tumblers specifically have really been taken off. And I know I've seen it at trade shows this year. You're seeing a lot of kind of knockoff Awala tumblers. So it's definitely that kind of pastel, like smooth look. It is really popular in the drinkware space. Another thing that was kind of growing was searches. This was a little weird. Searches for rubber ducks were up 34%, which I was like, I wasn't sure about that. But our explanation was that rubber ducks it's a social media thing with people who have Jeeps. Have you heard of ducking?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Okay. So they put rubber ducks on each other's vehicles. So I guess that took off last spring, and it was reflected in ESP searches, which is kind of fun and crazy.
Rubber ducks. Who would have thought? I like it. I like something new and fresh.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we move into the next segment of the show, one other thing I also want to highlight from the printing side of the industry, and of course your side of the industry as well, is this sustainability thing. We just recently published an article in Apparelist that's all about fast fashion, right? Something really interesting in terms of conversations we've been having about this is it's no longer conversations we're having. We're starting to see real things happen. For anybody who missed it, toward the end of 2024, California did pass its extended producer responsibility law. So now that is going to impact our industry, whether decorators, printers, distributors realize it or not. So we're starting to see some action on this type of thing. And we really need to start leaning into, as more like PFAS bans go into effect, that will affect apparel and what you're sourcing and offering your clients. So really, I think it's important to pay attention to this because it is going to start to become requirement under new legislation.
I mean, it's so, I always say, like, you need to be thinking about this before it's required, right?
Yes.
Like, why do you want to be, you don't want to be reactive. You got to be proactive. And we know it's going to be coming, and it is the right thing to do in a lot of cases. If you can figure out, how to make these things more sustainable, less waste, more circular, anything you can do with your products in that way. I mean, it's going to be good for your marketing. It's going to be good for the planet, and you may end up having to do it sometime soon anyway. So let's do it now, so you're not, caught unaware.
Yeah. And I think it kind of goes back to something we talked about in episode 1 in terms of New Year's resolutions, is we have to remember we are not creating just random, weird, throwaway products in our industries. We are creating something unique that's branded, that will put a branded product in front of people that they want to keep. We will put branded apparel in front of people that they want to wear time and time again. So that's also something, like, hearkening back to, our industries, is just remember, like, create something memorable, create something unique. All of us offer such a creative take on the industry. It ties into that sustainability play. Now we're throwing away less. We're using these items more. So definitely something to keep top of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to create good memories, not bad memories.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. Now that we've kind of talked about a couple really big topics that we wanted to open up with, Teresa and I also are very excited because it's the month of February, and whether you like it or not, it's the theme of love. Okay. So, before we go really deep into this, something funny I always think about is at my kids' school, rather than do Valentine's Day, they call it P.S. I Love You Day. But really, it's about shifting our focus. Like, we're not talking romantic love, right? We're talking about friendship love, or items that we love, or the unique decorated promo products we love. And so, I thought it would be kind of fun, or Teresa and I thought it'd be kind of fun. Let's talk about some things we love about our industries.
Yes. Absolutely. So what do I love about the print industry? I love that print isn't dead. I love that print is a thing. I love print. So like, the internet is great, right? There's nothing better than like, um, information is at your fingertips. But for me, there's nothing better than like cracking open like a physical book or an actual magazine, having something tangible that I can hold in my hands, tune out all the digital noise. So, I mean, like I know print is much broader than books and magazines, but for me, like that's my first love is, reading like an actual physical book. I love that, indie bookstores are kind of making a resurgence and people are, even if they're like, sharing about it on TikTok or Instagram, they're actually, embracing those kind of legacy, actual printed books, and of course I'm, a magazine person. I'm from a newspaper background. I love print. I love print in all forms. So,
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You are like speaking to my heart because there is nothing more satisfying than opening a printed physical copy of a book and just like engaging with it. I feel like it hits all of your senses. Like you can touch it, you can smell the pages,
yeah.
you can see it, like you can hear the pages turning.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's so cool. Okay, so in flipping the script a little bit, what I love about promo, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, I hate sometimes that people look at promo as tchotchkes because that is not what promo is. Promo is an incredibly creative industry. Some of the cool things, like the rubber ducks. Who would have ever thought to utilize rubber ducks, right? And I think that's so unique and so creative. The ways that companies, brand themselves, market themselves, get their logo out there, get their message out there is so creative and unique. And the fact that there's an entire industry dedicated to helping get branded messaging out, but in a way that is so much more elevated is just so cool. When I think of like an experience I have with a brand, I think of it as just that. It's an experience. I don't want, like to just look at it as like, oh, I interacted with this brand and now I'm going to move on my merry way. Like promo products make this something that I can experience. I felt good when I got this product. The people behind this company made me feel welcome or they met a need that I had. And oftentimes the promo product is tied to that memory and that experience and it evokes emotion. So now I'm having an emotional response. And I think that's one of the things I just love about promo is it can evoke an emotional response.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true because it all kind of works together. Like, you have the experience, but you want that thing to remember it by. And people love that.
Yeah. And like, even when I think about, so we're huge live music fans. I love to have something to remember my live music experience by if it's a really good experience, right? If it's a band that I absolutely am obsessed with, I've been waiting to see them all the years of my life. I want a promo product to remember that by. I think this is so cool. So
yeah, absolutely. Today we have two special guests here to talk about the partnership between ASI and the Alliance and the exciting future ahead for the print and promo industries. So we're joined by Tim Andrews, President and CEO of ASI, and Dave Leskusky, President of the Printing United Alliance. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
So I'm going to start with a question for Tim. When talks of first creating the partnership between ASI and the Alliance first began, what was the driver behind those conversations?
I think there were a few things. First of all, we had done some analysis at ASI that showed that about 20% of our current distributor members, we have about 20,000 firms in the network, about 20% were doing some sort of form of decoration of product. And another 20% were people that were in the print space, either as a print reseller or someone who came from the print reseller space and really had started adding promotional products to what they were already doing. So 40% of our people already had an overlap with Printing United and all the things Printing United did. So that was a very compelling thing. And so as we looked around and said, who would be the best partner to be able to help those 40% of our members perform even better from a business perspective? How can we help them have more education on what they're doing? How can we help them understand things? Printing United was the clear partner to have here. And we also, dug even deeper and said, how many of those distributors that are not yet decorating or not yet selling print ought to be, and or at least should know about it, because even if you're a distributor and you don't want to ever start doing decoration yourself, which there's a lot of reasons you might not want to do that, understanding the techniques and the technologies and understanding what's possible, I think is really important, because it allows you to represent those products to your customers better. It allows you to understand what suppliers do. And that's all just on the distributor side. On the supplier side, we have 3,000 suppliers, all of whom are buying and sourcing technologies to do decoration. And obviously, Printing United is the place to go at the expo, is the place to go to see all of that. So we thought this was a win, not only for existing distributors at ASI, but also for suppliers who need to have access to that education and that information about what kinds of manufacturing and what kind of decorating equipment should they be employing. So it was in some ways a no-brainer.
Yeah, and it's kind of a win-win-win, I think, for everybody, and especially with the decoration techniques, things getting so much easier, like with direct to film, like the barrier is lower, so it makes sense for distributors to know all about this.
Yeah, and actually, I think that's a really interesting point, Tim, that you start talking about, the benefits of learning these technologies and just the back and forth knowledge and education and connection that each industry can garner from each other. So, Dave, that actually kind of leads me into a question that, Teresa and I have, and maybe you can kind of outline some of the biggest benefits this partnership offers the industry, alongside that education and that connection.
Yeah, sure. I think Tim teed it up very nicely. I should have went first because he took a lot of my answer to this. But as I was thinking about this, earlier, I think for our printer members and just printers in general, whether they're members of the Alliance or not, and we'd love everybody to be members, I think it's really access to ASI's member benefits, their education, their content, and really their technology. I think one of the things in talking with Tim I was most impressed with is the amount of time, energy, and resources that they put into ESP Plus, and now they came out with the stores platform. They're the best in class provider in this space. And for us as an association, we wanted to provide our members with the best solutions possible. So ASI was clearly the best partner for us, for our printer members and for printers in general. On the flip side, Tim mentioned it, for distributors and suppliers, I think it's access to our education platforms, whether it's iLearning Plus. If you're a supplier that has put in a new DTG machine or a new screen machine or a new DTF platform, you could come to iLearning Plus at the Alliance and give your people education that they need to actually help operate that, from the get-go. And then obviously sourcing technology. The expo is, it was great to have Tim there. I think this was his first expo, and walking the floor with him and just watching his eyes as we were walking around and looking at the myriad of ways you can decorate product, because there is not a one size fits all. I think that is phenomenal for suppliers and distributors that may look at getting into decoration, whether it's short run or just personalization, to understand all the different ways that you can transfer an image to a product. So that's what I'm most excited about with the partnership.
And how fast it's all changing. I think the other piece here is just the change is incredible. Certainly screen printing, has changed and evolved over the years, and it is a very old technology, right? But all the other things, and for distributors, I was walking around, you're right, with my eyes wide open. I love looking at gadgets and gizmos and seeing all sorts of stuff, and I loved it. And certainly I've seen a lot of decorating in ASI suppliers, shops. But it really is phenomenal what's going on, and I think it really gives the distributors an opportunity to see, what can I be talking to my clients about when they tell me they've got a problem, they've got an idea, they saw something in a consumer space that is decorating, how can they, is that possible in our space? Well, it often is, and so I think that's really helpful. And frankly, to see suppliers on the show floor, which I saw a lot of them on the show floor at Expo last year, to see them, looking at the latest technologies, and their eyes were wide open too, going, wow, I've been really narrowly focused on a certain kind of technology. One of our friends, that they do writing instruments and principally pencils, he said, 5 years ago when I first came to Expo, the tolerance was, a half an inch or whatever he said in terms of being able to print on a pencil. Now it's down to like a 1/16 of an inch he can print, So that evolution in a very fast time, we're seeing across the board, whether it's in apparel or whether it's hard goods.
Yeah, that's awesome. So obviously this partnership is kind of a long-term arrangement. So there's a lot of things that are going to be coming, in the future. And I just kind of want to look into a little bit, like what are some things that we can look forward to because of the partnership going forward?
Who wants to go first? Dave?
Go ahead, Tim. I'll let you go
You know
first.
what I'm going to say. I am super excited about everything we're doing. However, in 26, we're going to have an ASI pavilion at the expo in Las Vegas in the fall. And we are really excited about that. We will be able to have probably 200 or so ASI suppliers that will have booths there, 10 by 10 or 10 by 20 booths. And we're also going to be extending invitations to ASI members to be able to attend the show. So we are really excited about that. It's a West Coast event. It's in the fall. It's perfect timing, right before the busy sales cycle of holidays and gifting and all those sorts of things. But really is a great wrap for the year for people to be able to spend some time in Las Vegas, be able to see all the latest and greatest that suppliers have in the promo space, but also the things we're talking about here in terms of decorating technologies and other things. And also there's some companies that exhibit there that are not yet ASI suppliers. And so some of those apparel companies are also there. So I think it's a great opportunity. We're queuing that up for the fall of 2026. We're starting to talk to suppliers about it. They're getting excited. And of course, we're going to be inviting the distributors in the network. And, California is one of our very biggest states for ASI distributor members. So we're expecting to have a really nice turnout at that event and add to the excitement that's on the show floor.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I would echo that. I think that what's exciting about the show within a show, when Tim and I first started talking about it, is we already have a large number of printer members that are distributing promotional products. And there's more that are looking to get into it. Certainly when you look at the apparel decoration side as well, I think we're just scratching the surface there of apparel decorators that should be distributing hard goods. They're already obviously selling tons of soft goods. So by definition, they're selling promo. But to be able to extend into hard goods is kind of a no-brainer. So being able to have, ASI help us on the show floor with getting those hard goods suppliers there, so you can really have a one-stop shop for our traditional attendees is phenomenal. But if you think about, we have between 5,000 and 6,000 of those attendees now that are already in promo. If we can add, as Tim mentioned, the ASI membership from west of Fort Worth come to that show, that's a real robust attendee profile for suppliers to come in and meet some of their existing customers, but also, net new. As the relationship expands, I think one of the things that I'm most excited about is things like this, right? It's having two separate content teams that are now working together in concert. I love what you're doing, obviously, on this podcast. Nothing makes me happier than opening up our newsletters and ASI newsletters and seeing how you're all collaborating to really help connect the dots of these, two industries that really have a ton of overlap, but have kind of stayed in their own lanes for a long time. And we're here to kind of let them, to show them the opportunity that's there. And Tim and I can go on every podcast in the world and preach from the mountaintop, but it's really, you all that are out there talking to your readers on a regular basis that's going to help us drive this home. And I'm just really happy of how well the partnership's gone from that perspective as well.
I agree 100% with that. And I some of the different profiles you're doing of people that are in print and have added promo, or they're a decorator and they've added promo, I think those are great lessons for people that are thinking about it but aren't quite there yet, or they're already in it, but it's a very tiny part of their business. And I think those examples you've been giving are really super useful, both in a podcast form, but also in print form on the web. Really that very valuable information.
Yeah, we really find that sort of taking like that case study approach, the proof is in the pudding. We're seeing both of you have talked extensively just now about like that convergence. Yeah. What better way to demonstrate it than to show everybody what all the other printers and promo distributors and both industries are doing already, which is pretty crazy. So before we let you two jump, because this is the February episode of Branding Together, Teresa and I thought we're going to have a little fun. We're going to lean into the love and the sharing, the friendships and all that stuff. We're going to flip the script just a little bit. So my question to you, Tim, is what is one thing you love about the printing industry?
Well, first of all, February is my birthday month, so I'm super excited about that.
Yay.
February 13th, if anybody wants to send me a card or an email or something. I love that it's everywhere. I think that so often in any of these industries any of us are in, we think of them as sort of special places that are very private and only I know about or whatever. As we started talking, I spoke to Dave and I said, promo is about a $26-27 billion industry. How big is print? And he said, just go next time you go to the grocery store, go anywhere you go, look around, and it's hundreds of billions of dollars. Well, that's what I like. I like that it's a big addressable market for anyone who's not yet in it, whether they're not yet in promo or they're not yet in print or they're not yet in decorating. It is a huge market and it's growing. And, if we go back 20 years, the thought was, will print go away as things move to digital? Gosh, paper and print is incredibly important. Signage, we can go on and on and on. So I love that it's everywhere I look, I see print and promo often together in the same place. And so that says that the markets have come together. We're just now bringing the industries together.
Okay, and then we'll go to Dave. And what is one thing that you love about the promo industry?
Well, one thing I love is that Tim shares a birthday with my wife. So they are both February 13th. So maybe we'll have to get together for dinner on the birthday night. I don't think
your wife wants me at her birthday dinner.
I don't know if she wants me there either. So.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think on the promo side, I think it's similar to what Tim said, but I think what's awesome about the promo industry is that you're really not limited by a product that you produce, right? In the printing industry, you are kind of set with what you sell by what is in your manufacturing plant. I love talking to distributors about the ideas that they have, and they're not limited by anything other than their creativity of what type of product they can put a logo or a motto on, right? So, and that's where the markets really overlap. It's just taking that idea of working with their clients in a consultative way to help them solve a problem, and then being able to go back and reach the millions of products that are in ESP, or the millions of products that you could put ink on a substrate, whether it's paper, a package, a piece of apparel. And I think the promo market is one of the most creative spaces I have ever been around. I think that from a standpoint of selling techniques and being able to really care and help their clients, I think it's unparalleled. So I love talking to distributors. I love talking to the suppliers. And I think, again, bringing these industries together, there is so much that we can do to help each market continue to grow. This is not an either or scenario. I think it's an area that we can actually increase both categories.
Yeah, it's a both and.
Yes. It's a branding together, if you will.
Branding together, right. There's a
reason
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today and answering a couple of questions and helping clear things up for people. I know you guys have been talking about this all over the place, but the more we can spread the word about the partnership and how exciting it is and how much potential there is for members from both sides, I think the better we'll be. So thank you so much. All right. Well, so it was so great to have Tim and Dave on. They had some really smart things to say, but of course we like to end on, I don't know, maybe like not as smart of a note. We like to be a little fun, a little silly. So what I thought we could do at the end is, as it's the Valentine's month episode, I think we both did this. We both asked ChatGPT to write some, promo and print specific Valentine's cards. So I'm going to put on my rose-colored glasses.
Woo!
And for people that can't see me, I have heart-shaped glasses on now. But the first Valentine's we have is, "You're the promo to my product. We just click."
I'm sorry. It's going to be really hard for me to keep a straight face through this. I love that.
Right?
Okay. So that was a good one to kick off. The first one I have to share from the print side is, "You're the CMY to my K. Let's make a full color love story together."
I like that. How about "You imprint my heart with happiness"?
Oh,
That kind of works for both industries, I think.
It so does. And actually, that kind of goes with my next one, which is you've impressed me. My feelings for you are offsetting my balance. Oh, let's lean into the pun, the wonderful pun.
Um, I'd totally carry you anywhere. And then wait, I'm going to use this other one because this one's really. You've branded my heart. Let's stick together like a custom decal.
Oh, man. Oh, yes, I love it. All right, next one I have. You're the box to my fold. Without you, I'd just be flat. That's all for my packaging fans out there. There you go. You're welcome.
Just for you, special. Here's another one. I'd never retract my love for you, unlike this promo pen.
Oh, ooh, that one was clever. Good job, Chat GPT. I'm proud. That's good. All right, so maybe we're starting to get a little too kitschy, but here's one that I like for all my embroidery fans. You're so SEW, perfect for me. Let's stitch our lives together forever.
Oh, that's very Hallmark.
It is, right?
All right, I'm going to do one more.
Okay.
You make my heart glow brighter than an LED promo keychain.
Okay, all right. Last one for me. We're a package deal. You're the die to my cut.
Oh, lovely. Love it. I mean, my heart is just growing like 3 sizes listening to these.
Yes, there's the love, people. And you know what? You're welcome to all of you printers and promo distributors out there, because now you have some ideas to create some great Valentine's products for your customers.
Steal these.
So,
Please steal them.
all right, on that note, Teresa, I'm glad we got to end on a laugh and some good love Valentine's themed ideas. As we mentioned, there will be plenty of links that we're going to share in the show notes, so please check those out. We'll link lots of articles that we talked about, put lots of information, and of course, our contact information will be there if you want to reach out to us with any ideas, thoughts, feedback, all the things.
And we'll be back in March.
All right, looking forward to what funny thing we have then.